Hi, in this video we're going to take a look at integrating Ellucian Ethos with Terminalfour. Now, Ellucian Ethos, if you're not familiar with it, is essentially a data platform. It provides a unified data model for all the data that a higher ed institution might use. So for example, like course data, student data, or data about academics, all of those things come together essentially within Ellucian Ethos. So it's a single source of truth. And what we're going to do here is we're going to use Ellucian Ethos with Terminalfour using the external content syncer to be able to essentially take the data from Ellucian Ethos and actually create content items within Terminalfour. So let's do that. Okay, so first up, I'm in the external content syncer screen. Now, if you haven't used the external content syncer before, I'd recommend you take a look at the documentation on the knowledge base. But essentially, the external content syncer, as the name might suggest, takes content from external sources, whether that's databases or CSVs, and allows you to be able to integrate that, take the content from that, and then create sections or create content items within Terminalfour with it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to first up have a look at the data source. In order for us to be able to use the external content syncer, what we need to first do is create a data source, basically the address for the data and how Terminalfour is going to talk to that data source. So here we've got an Ethos data source already created. What I've given it a name so I can distinguish it from other data sources I might have within Terminalfour as well. I don't need a username for this, but what I do need is an API token, and that's what I've already put it in. I got that from Ellucian, and it's an API token that's specifically for us as a client. So what I have is an API token, and an API token is specific for us to be able to access a token string that allows us to be able to access it. Now, if you're already an Ellucian Ethos client, you'll already have an API token, so you can use that. Also, I've got the URL of the Ellucian Ethos cloud instance that we're using, and also we've got the driver. This is the driver. You can copy and paste this from the docs. It's the driver the Terminalfour will use in order to be able to connect with Ethos. So now we've got our data source in place. Let's just go back out to data sources and just test the connection and make sure that's going to work. Great. Okay, I can see the success message down here at the bottom. That means I can start creating my data store now with that. So I'm going to create a data store, and I'm going to give this a name, Ethos Sync, just to distinguish it from any other data stores I might have. I'm going to leave the description blank here. I'm going to go down to data source. That's the data source that we saw previously. If I had any other data sources on this instance, I'd see them listed here, but just got this single data source here. The root section, this is the section that I want to populate with the content from Ethos. So I can create child sections within that section, or I can create content items. So what I'm going to do is select program section, and I'm going to stick with the channel. That's fine, all of that. I'm not going to create an individual section for each piece of content. So what I want to do is create a content item, just a series of content items within this particular section. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to specify an archive section, and I want the status of my new content here. I want it to be approved. I could set it to any of the other statuses if I wanted to, but for this one, so for example, when it comes in, I'm just going to be happy with it, and it's going to get approved, and then it's going to get published. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go down here and go down to the bottom one, and I'm going to put this in, and this is essentially just what I'm going to do here is add the web service query. This is the query that's going to be used to pull the data that I want. So I'm going to select the kinds of data that I want here. So I'm going to say API, or our API queries start like that, and then I'm going to say courses, and then the parameter I want to say is I don't want all of the courses, I just want it to limit to 10 courses. Now we're going to have a look at this. Now, this is a very, very basic query, so you can get incredibly complex with these types of queries, but it's just a matter of just trying to show you how this works. And let's have a look. And down at the bottom here, we've got this fetch example data. And let's have a look. Okay, so that's successfully pulled in the data. This is all of the course data, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy, say, the value, the title of my course. What I want to do then next is I'm going to select the content type that I want to use. I'm going to use this program content type. I'm going to paste this in, paste that in there. I'm just going to use the same value for the course name. Then I want to say the description, and excellent, I'm going to use this description as well, and I'm going to put that down at I think there's a course overview there. Perfect, I'm going to use that. Great. Okay, so now I've got my example data, got my mapping, so I've actually just mapped the data with the particular content elements within this particular content type. And now I'm going to save my changes, and what I want to do is run an initial sync. Remember, I've specified the section that I want the content items to be created in. I've specified the content type that I want it to use, and now the data is going to be populated with that. So let's just do that. So what I'm going to do is sync. I've selected the initial sync because this is the first sync, so that's the sync type I'm going to use, and then I'm going to select sync, and over here on the left you can see the sync status. The sync status is updated now, and now it's complete. So what I can do is I'm going to go back out to my site structure, go into my program section, into my content, and now we can see all of the content items created from the courses. And you can see this is going to be quite sparse because I remember I only selected two types of two of those data types. So I can see here I've got my name, and remember down there I've got the description, which is been mapped to the program overview. And that's it. That's how I integrate Ellucian Ethos content within Terminalfour.